Hey guys, this is May Elizabeth, and in this video, I want to talk kind of a rant, but also with strong conviction, I suppose, about where are we. And so, I personally get messages or downloads that I know do not come from me, that come from another source. I would say higher source. However, it could be a lower source also, considering that a lot is going on beneath us, underground, below us. We always talk about, in the truth world, we always talk about as above, so below. But what if we are the ones above? I think that there's a misconception. We are also programmed and brainwashed our whole lives, but so we always looked up as children. We were taught that was heaven and hell was below us. If we are in an inverted world, then that would be the opposite. So what I think lately, okay, so I think that we're definitely within a band of frequency. There is what's known as the morphogenic field. Somehow this frequency, though, is running off. There is polarity, but there's a very negative force, obviously, and it dominates in our reality. It's a dominating force, the negative part of the duality or polarity. And I believe that we are in a state of frequency. We are, you could compare it to a video game, and we feel alive because we feel matter. But matter, the word matter in Latin is one T, mater, which is water. We are in a sort of plasma type frequency coming from the water. There's so many clues to this in language, and I'm going to do another video on that. But at this moment, here we're coming to the full moon again. Seems like it was just yesterday we had the last full moon with another. I think this one is called the buck moon or something, some other ridiculous nonsense that they created. So, on July 9th, they're saying that the Earth is spinning so fast that tomorrow is going to be July 9th, a shortened day. Just more absurdity. So, in this false, illusory, somewhat delusional construct, what we have to do is, okay, one of the reasons I'm doing this video is, and I will expand more on that later, is because a lot of us, we want out. We want free of this. They say that our souls, those of us that are real souls, which I don't think are that many here at all, they say that we have free will, but we're tricked. I mean, that's no different than the place as a school when we consider that we're mind wiped and we have amnesia. Which dementia to me is just another form of amnesia, created by the toxins and the poisons and the programming. So all of this is that we are projected into here. I believe moon-based projected. That's why there's so many words that have mon in them, M-O-N, but also W is the inverted M. So, and that's related to the arches, like you see in McDonald's in St. Louis. The arch is a strong connection to the archons. And so we are pulled by this force. It's very difficult because if we are in our own natural true self, without the food poisons and without breathing the toxins and I'm going to say the letter after F, 5F, which is a tower in the sky, all of those. And if you haven't realized that that's not an alien type technology force, and when I say alien, obviously there's no space in the way that we were taught, but I mean alien as in another form of human, actually, is what I think. Futuristic humans, something, it's all related to consciousness, but they have connected us with these towers. They have connected us more. We are more hacked into the system, into the internet. We are in the internet. I think that functioning in a digital fashion. I think that we are here and we feel like we're alive. Although I can spot it. Like, I mean, I all the signs are clear to me, but you would be hard pressed to convince a more normal person of this. They're gonna they're gonna say you're you know what. So and that's kind of fine. The more crazy they think we are, maybe the better. Maybe this should be a positive. We should see this as a good sign rather than be triggered or defensive. Who cares what they think? It's not even their fault, the ones on the download. We're just on a different frequency and a different download. I think that those of us that see this place for what it is more and more and more, I think that we have the possibility to make it out, to get out of this cycle. I'm not calling it a trap. I'm not saying that it's I think it's more of a trick than a trap. And I think that those of us that see through the veil, look at the word veil, which is live. Those of us that see through this more, we have a better chance to get out of here. And that's why that's why we're investigating truth and we're researching truth. And there's so many symbols. I think some of the symbols, some of the rabbit holes, if you will, for lack of a better term, are created. They're another part of the trick. They are just here to get you distracted, even just as well as the tricks of CNN and the false news system, whatever news you watch, Fox, CNN, it's all the same. And you could never convince someone normal that the same people that own these one news station broadcasting another symbol and language, that you could never convince them that these are the same people that own all of it. They don't understand BlackRock, State Street, but at the end of the day, it's still all related to consciousness. And somehow we can see through the veil. So we can see we're not in a place that would be a more natural or real. I don't even know about nature anymore. I know it's beautiful. We feel more connected to it than the artificial and the synthetic. There's a lot of truth to that. However, is that just part of the 3D reality headset that we wear with our eyes? And let's look at the word I. I mean, you're reduced to one letter. Your persona is reduced to one letter. And what is the I? I. You're seeing with the eye, but you're seeing from an observer point of view. I mean, those of us who are different, I think we feel more like observers rather than like those that fit in here. Those that are tangled up in politics and watching Netflix. I mean, I do like to watch some Netflix sometimes to look for truth signals and symbols because they give it to us right there, right? So sometimes as a natural researcher trying to investigate where you are and how the hell to get out of here, we do look to movies. We know Hollywood knows. There is something with the bloodlines that does hold some truth, although I think that that's also another, it's not, they don't, there's no way they're going to give us all the bloodline names. And in my own personal life, I think it's why I've interacted with so many of these bloodlines and these families. And in my job, I've been with them, I've encountered them, and I believe that they are another planted obstacle to throw us off course. I do think that they are connected, but I don't think that they're the ones at the very top. The ones at the very top do not use money. They probably set fire to it for fun and entertainment. They don't use money. They don't have names or identities in the same fashion that we do. They certainly wouldn't use a passport. I think they're entertained by all of this, but we will never know who they are. They. So, and that's a whole nother thing. But what I think that they know is I think that they've handed it down from generation to generation, the true secret of our world, the knowledge that we are learning, those of us that are vibrating higher on a different frequency. I think some of us are actually getting in tune to this finally. And the stronger you are and the more you want out of here and the more you reject the toxicity and the chaos And that even includes on a personal level. Like right now, I'm fasting, and I don't want to talk about myself too much, but I just want to say I'm doing some juice fasting at the moment. And I do believe that food is Saturnian in nature. When I say Saturnian, I mean satanic. It is Saturnian. It is part of the ring of control. It is here to enslave you. It is poison. It is not nutritious. Fruits and vegetables, obviously, are a lot better. Fasting is better. The less poison we ingest, the more likely we come to the truth of our real selves and where we are. And here's an interesting thought. Are we on a frequency that is also residing within another frequency and another frequency? People always talk about Tartaria, which I think is interesting. We have words that come from Tartaria, right? Like Atari, tartar sauce. But are the Tartarians, if they did create us and shrink us down and use us here, and we're here as their food or their louche, could they also be here simultaneously? We always talk about it's a simulation, but maybe the joke is it's a simultaneous simulation. Look at the language there. There are so many symbols and so much evidence in language. Sometimes I'm shocked that there isn't enough of this out there. So I'm going to keep doing videos on the symbolism in language. And more keeps coming to me that is just fascinating. And it usually comes to me because I have had some people ask me, well, when does it happen? A lot of times it's upon waking or when falling asleep. I will just get these downloads, and I know they're not from me, and I know I have a certain level of ESP. I believe that those of us that are on this frequency, not the NPCs, not the Ottomans, those can't be saved, and I don't even know if we should waste our time trying at this point. But those of us on this wavelength, on this frequency, we can get more and more in tune on how to get out of here, to the secrets of the bloodlines that they know at the very top, which maybe that's why I have encountered them. Maybe this is part of my experience, is to work alongside of them or be alongside of them, which I have, to open my eyes from the veil, so to speak. So we are in a transitory place. This is what I'm going to say, and I'm actually positive. This is not, there are remnants of a life. This is not life as we knew it. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, it was more analog, but there was still that influence, and it was fighting hard. That negative Saturnian influence, oh, it was there. It was there all the way back to the 60s. I can see it in symbolism through Leave It to Beaver, Beaver Cleaver. Oh, I could do a whole video on that. And sure enough, that showed up in a movie. God, there was a really good movie that my friend Peter recommended. That it's just amazing. There was so much symbolism, and I can't think of the name of it at the moment. But I will add names of titles of books and movies for those that are interested. There's some interesting books that I'm reading right now. The Matrix series, written in the 80s before Ike, and I noticed that Ike took a lot of stuff from this guy, Valerian, who did this series, which now these books go for $1,000 and they're rare. Well, I wonder why. So what I was getting at with the Tartarians, and I got sidetracked a little bit, was that it's possible that we are residing in the same frequency. So we see this architecture, right? So you're going along, you see this magnificent architecture, and you know we didn't. Little bitty humans with no teeth and plagued with disease and without electricity. It's just, how did the NP, I don't know how anyone believes this shit. But anyway, so is it possible that they are residing simultaneously but on a different frequency at the same time? And this is a whole nother thing, and I did learn this from the Matrix series, and I think David Icke has pulled from this, but without claiming it. And I read him too, and that's a whole nother thing, not to get off on a tangent, but his name is very odd to me, Ike. Ice, control. You see, they use K. K is for control. It's Germanic in nature. And mind control, right? So, is Ike under the control of them? His information is still invaluable. It's still amazing. But I think the reptilian thing is another way to throw us off. You know, look over there while we do this over here. But anyway, so in the Matrix series, and I'll do a whole video on this, we have what looks like, and I'll add a picture in another video, a jellyfish. It looks just like a jellyfish, and I refer to it sometimes as my jellyfish. And it comes down like strings, like the silver cord. Like if you've ever had out-of-body experiences or astral projection, you know that silver cord. We are corded in here. And isn't that interesting when we look at the word record? Look at all the words that start with RE, and I'm going to do a video on this. And I'm so emphatic about this because I get frustrated because very few can see this, what I can see. But look at the word record. You are recorded in what? The Akashic records? The Akashic records, because you're recorded down here. You are sent down here, you go straight back up to the light that is the moon that no one else can. Can anybody just see that? Excuse my frustration. You go up to the light and you're recorded back down here. And up here. Because they're simultaneously working in the DUMBs, the underground, deep underground military basements. They're simultaneously working in tune with the moon. Okay? And this is how you're here in a different frequency. Could you be residing amongst another frequency at a more advanced level? We can call them the Tartarians. That's fine. I don't know how we would legitimately have the correct name, given that there's so much falsehood in all of history and writings. And this is one of my problems with, and I do read a ton, but people that look into history, there's some great channels and interesting things on history, but my concern is, well, if it's all a simulation and it's all a farce, how can you give credibility or validity to these books, this literature? How? If it's all created, if artificial intelligence, which has always been here, is this all-seeing and all-knowing that created us and created this frequency in which we resided, which is a type of purgatory, which is the afterlife. If you haven't figured out yet, you're in an afterlife. So, or an alter life, let's say. Not even after, let's say alter life. Because there is no after. Because there was no before. Because there's no time. There's no linear time. So we're all projected down here many times at once under one jellyfish. But some of us have done this so many times and we're more advanced. And we're starting to see through all of it. And I feel like when the full moon comes, and we're in it right now, we get more and more visions and more clarity. And I don't care. I don't need to be, popular or whatever with this channel, but I created it for the few. I don't care if it's 12 people. I don't care. There may only be 12 people in this existence that are real souls. It's all, when I fly on the planes, I'm telling you guys right now, it is desolate. You do not see infrastructure or people for miles and miles and miles from the air. Now, when you fly and then here comes the urban area, city, sure, you do, obviously. However, I would say by and large, most of this land is just empty and desolate, which goes along with my other possible theory that there's another frequency residing here simultaneously. Obviously, we are some sort of louche, and when we give in to the ego, the false illusion, the Maya, when we give in to this, those that created us, which is likely another level of consciousness, but it's the consciousness that feeds on the more deplorable parts of us. We all have something innately in us that is negative, that is bad. Most of us that are real souls will never hurt another being or an animal. However, there's something attached to us, and it's that lower level of consciousness, I'm sure, that we have to fight. How do we fight it? We fight it by shedding things. We shed materialism. We shed things that we're attached to. That even includes, obviously that's technology. I did a whole video on the con-ology. That's a part of the illusion. And that's how we're connected here. The more we can shed the technology, the more we can shed the food, the toxins from the food. I would say cigarettes, but I think cigarettes are awful. But and I don't smoke myself, but I have used nicotine. I do believe nicotine, the nicotine plant is great for seeing clear vision and for health reasons to help knock out the nanobots of the towers and the cell phones, the radiation in general. So what I'm saying, the more that we can reduce these negative effects, the more we are going to come in touch with the true consciousness, the true self. So it takes a lot of work and effort, and it's also just, you can't convince the normies or the NPCs, but maybe you do need to say something, because there are terrible things happening in this simulation to children, to animals. And I'm going to add in this video a picture of little Astrid. She was a little black cat that was that we fed and took care of and watered, and she was fixed, and some neighbors helped us with her. She was a little stray cat, but I called her my own, even though she wouldn't let us get close. She was just scared, and she was so beautiful. And black cats hold a powerful energy, and I'm concerned that someone in the area poisoned her. There's talk of that, and I don't mean to get off on this tangent for a moment, but I do want to say that had a huge effect on me, holding little Astrid when she was right in between life and death. As I had the feeling, I understand how she wants to let go, and she wants to slip out of this matrix and go into another one. She lives a very hard life. The male tomcats hurting her, dominating over her. She is always nervous and scared of even the big humans and the cats around. She's hot, I think, I'm sure, even though they have an infiltration system, cats do. But she's black, she's small, it's the deep south, it's hot here, it's humid. So anyway, she was always, nervous, but so beautiful. She was a Bombay cat. And I believe, because I've read books, and I read a lot, on energies, and there's even a great one that's not in print anymore called Strain Energies, Hidden Powers by Douglas Collagen, and it talks about the black cat. And why do Saturnians, when they're doing their rituals, why do they sacrifice the black cat? Well, there's a reason, because it's a very powerful energy. And I just thought, what is the Matrix telling me? Because here's the neighbor saying Astrid is there suffering, and we scoop her up, and she's in a towel, try to give her milk, water, ice her little head, and do everything I could to save her. But at the same time, I was thinking, I understand, Astrid, if you want to let go. I did all I could to save her, and I had the mobile vet people come and take her, and she spent the night. She didn't make it through the night, but she was halfway, and I understood her in that moment. The fear, the suffering, she, on a different level than us, feels the same thing we feel. Because I don't care how great your life is, and most people would look at mine and say, wow, because there are a lot of great things about my life. And they wouldn't understand this feeling of being this restless soul and not fitting in here. But no matter how great you have it, you have to know that children are suffering underground. They're being tortured and raped and killed. Excuse me, there's horrible things going on, bloodshed, violence. How can you feel good here? You can't. So what we have to work on is to get out of here. So I'm doing as much research on my part, and I am taking these downloads in and vibrating at a higher level, and I want to help those who want out, so that when it's our time, we can exit to our real home, the right plane, and it's not this plane of existence, it's somewhere else. So I will conclude this for now. I have a lot more to say. The next one I want to do is in the symbolism and language again, and how I can prove through language that we are in a reset. R-E, look at the word re. It means doing over, right? It means repeating again. R-E. But it's used invertedly too, because it's at the end of many words. But we know that the controllers who know, and I don't think that they all sit in one room. It's just ridiculous. No, there's just people that are at a higher level of the dimension, but they're in a lower, they operate this lower vibrational field, but they're at a higher level of knowledge on what the system really is, if that makes sense. They know what it is. And I think that we can get in tune with that. We can understand that more by raising our own frequency and our own vibration. And the symbols in language, I know there's gematria, I know there's numbers, those are powerful too. Those are very powerful, but a lot of people are missing the symbolism in just even everyday words. We are speaking their Saturnian alphabet. Alpha is a brainwave. We are speaking on our frequency with their short, small 26 letters and constructed words that, and here's one thing you could say, well, language goes back to Babylon and blah blah blah, and the Sumerians and Phoenicians and all that nonsense. How do you know that any of that's real? Were you there? How do you know that it didn't all start the moment you entered here? If AI is so powerful, it could be all created from the minute you got here, the second you got here. And there's a good video on where the bodies are, and I'll expand more on that later, because coming from New Orleans, our bodies are buried above ground, and I think that affects the frequency for sure. And then where are all the bodies? Like, where's all the birds that you see in the sky that drop dead? Where do they go when they die? How come we're not surrounded by dead birds? I mean, you'll see a dead animal, but in general, and why aren't there new cemeteries that are built? Where are all the bodies? Well, if you're operating on a unique frequency or radio station, if you will, well, then you wouldn't see a lot of bodies, would you? If you're in an afterlife or a part of the astral, you actually wouldn't see a lot of bodies. Just think about that, and I will conclude there, and I have more to say in the next one. And a lot of this is not from me. This is not egoic at all. Please know that, anyone listening. This is from another source, and this is from my soul that's just been here too many times, and I don't want to be recorded down into this place, or up into this place, up and down into this place again. So that's why I have to deliver this message, and I don't care if it's just to 5 people, but I do have to get it out, because maybe it'll help someone to see these symbols that are all around us. Maybe it'll help other people to exit too. Thanks for listening.